What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to take a break from arcade one-up and full-size American-style arcade cabinets to talk about an arcade cabinet in my collection that's just a little bit different, and that's my Sega Astro City, my Japanese candy cab that I imported from China. That's right, Japanese imported from China. It's all very confusing, but basically these things are really hard to come by in North America. When you do find them, they're really expensive. And also, the reason why they're so sought after is because they were never really imported here in the 90s. So these are hard to come by. These are really something that was specific to Japan, and it sort of pioneered this idea of, hey, why don't we sit down to play arcade games? Crazy concept, right? Well, this is the form factor that was introduced with the Candy Cab, and it popularized other cabinets moving forward. If you're familiar with the Vulix and the Chulix cabinets, this is where that idea came from. Now, those cabinets have big 16 by 9 inch monitors, plenty of room for two players to play side by side. They're playing these things in tournaments and conventions, and it's really cool. The Astro City is comfortable for two people to play, but it's not necessarily the most ideal. Now, because these cabinets are totally modular, really there's no emphasis on the game. There's very little emphasis on the game. If you walk up to this, you're not really going to know what game is in it if the cabinet is off, with the exception of like a little piece of instruction card that's located right above your control panel. So, but beyond that, these things are really made to be just generic so that they can be modular and, configured to whatever game you want to play. And that also, means that you could maybe switch from two-player to one-player, which is what we're going to do today. So to pull this off, you can go to eBay and different forums and Facebook groups, and you can maybe find replacement control panel inserts, original control panel inserts, that are set up for one player versus two player. But those are going to be expensive, and they're also going to be 30-year-old parts. But the thing about this is that insert is made of metal, and there's like these studs that are welded to the bottom to hold the Sanwa joystick. So it's going to be tough really to find a good one in good quality, and if you're really trying to nail a certain look and all this, there's so much going on. If only there was a place you could go to order these things brand new. Well, luckily, our friends across the pond in the UK, they're helping us out here with this one. So if you go over to arcadeartshop.com, you can find a bunch of arcade artwork, and you can also find control panel inserts for the Sega Astro City in a few different configurations. The configuration that I wanted was the single player, and they had it in stock, ready to go, exactly how I wanted it. You can even choose the finish from like gloss to matte, really whatever you want. So with that piece ordered, I just had to wait, right? But everything else, for the most part, it's pretty easy to source. Your control panel parts, your joystick, buttons, you can go to several places. I went to Paradise Arcade and got everything that I needed. Once again, all these places that I went to buy all this cool stuff, those will be linked in the description below, so make sure you check that out. Now, if you're going to do this, you're going to want, obviously, a Sanwa-style joystick. I went with Sanwa proper. Also, 30mm buttons. And then you're going to need one, if you're going with a one-player setup, you're going to need one 24mm button. That's going to be your start button. So with the buttons ordered, with the control panel ordered, there was one more thing I needed to make this thing truly plug and play. Now, when you open up your control panel, you're going to see this junction where you can plug in multiple wiring harness into, and that's basically the main harness running inside the cabinet. And then the junction is whatever controls you got going on, you can plug into this junction, and you're set. You're good to go. So where am I going to find an original style wiring harness for a single player Astro City? Once again, you can hunt and look and try to find something that's original, but that's going to be difficult. Or you can do like I do, go to eBay. There is a really cool shop based in Paris, France. Well, I don't know if it's Paris. It's France though, because they speak French. I don't understand anything they were saying, but basically they do incredible work. I've bought several different wiring harness from them. And as long as you know what you're looking for, you can find exactly what you need to truly make this plug and play. So once I got all the parts together, I took off the beautiful film off the front of this control panel, and away you go, plugging in your buttons, installing your joystick, and then hooking up and connecting your brand new wiring harness. Now, there was one weird thing that I noticed with my Sanwa joystick, and that's the connector for the actual wiring harness on the joystick was pointed to the side. They're usually pointed straight up. I thought, well, maybe I'm just remembering this wrong. So I went ahead and installed it like it was, sent from the factory, plugged everything in, and then gave it a test. And unfortunately, the direction was wrong. I had to go ahead and remove the backing plate, the mounting plate on the Sanwa joystick, which is just those 4 screws, rotate it 90 degrees, and then reinstall it and everything was good to go. Now, when you go to remove your existing insert, it's not that complicated. You've got 6 bolts, these little carriage bolts, 6 bolts to remove. And that's really it. Everything else is just unplug your junction, slap in your new insert, bolt everything up, plug it in, and away you go. And it is just that easy. Now, for me, and the single player setup, because it's going to be optimized for gameplay, my single player gameplay, I went ahead and went with a bat top, and that includes, or that's going to require an adapter. Once again, I got all this from Paradise Arcade, so great place. You definitely want to check them out. Get whatever button colors you want and all that, but make sure you get the 30mm and the 24mm, and away you go. Now, if you don't have an Astro City, you may think this doesn't really apply to you. Kind of cool, Fox, but I don't see any really need to maybe do this or source these parts. True, unless you have the new Unico Nova Blast. That's right. The Nova Blast has the exact same insert, that the Sega Astro City does. So if you got your, Nova Blast and you like it, but you'd maybe like to do this conversion, you can absolutely do that with all the same parts that I have listed below in the description, minus the wiring harness. But anyway, this just speaks to the great design of the cabinets, these candy cabs from back in the day. And the fact that they're so modular, the fact that they're intentionally left generic so you can really run whatever game you want as long as it's JAMA. And you can run almost any control panel that you want. There's all kinds of different configurations out there. So you can make this thing custom to what you want. And the fact that these parts are going to be interchangeable and swappable with a Nova Blast just makes them that much better. So let me know what you think about this in the comments section below. I hope you found this informative. I really like this cabinet. I know maybe they're hard to come by, but if you ever find the opportunity to buy one and it doesn't have exactly the control panel you want, don't worry about it. That's something you can absolutely fix. Thank you so much for stopping by and checking out the channel. Y'all have a blessed day, and I will see all of you next time.